Hey everyone, welcome in. This is Julie Max and the Main Stamper. I am here for Thursday at 3. So happy March. It is March officially. This is our first March Fun Fold card. And for March, if you saw my class on Monday, my weekly card class from Maine, you know that we're featuring the Simply Zinnia Bundle this week. So I take the card class on Monday. I share 3 cards with you. I offer you the kits in the mail if you place an order with me during the week. And on Thursday, I come back on and I do a fun fold card with the same bundle. So I'm showing you that you can have lots of different variety of cards using the same products. That is my theme every week, right? So if you are joining me live, welcome in. I am so happy to see you here. Please let me know that you can see and hear me okay. The tech is always a challenge. And if you're watching replays, please say hi on replay as well. I do go back through. Thanks, Melissa. Melissa's working good. I do go back through and I check everyone's comments. I try to reply to them. It's always so nice to know that you've watched and that you've commented. It just really helps me out, and it's always a nice thing, right, to share some time together. So we are, hi Rhonda. So I've got a couple friends with me today. Thanks for hanging out. This is, if you're a fan of orange and pink, please raise your hand. Orange and pink. I never knew that orange and pink were really a thing until I met people that loved orange and pink, and then I was like, oh, light bulb. I guess it is pretty bright and fun, right? Orange and pink together. This is pumpkin pie, melon mambo. These are some of the classic, iconic Stampin' Up colors. They go back. They did not get shooken out of the color family when we did our color refresh last year. So these are a thing, orange and pink, right? So this is a Simply Zinnia double flap fun fold card. I always have to read the title because they're so long. Double flap. There's 2 times the flaps here for extra fun, right? So this is the front, and I'm holding it closed because it will flop. The flap will flop open, right? That's like a Dr. Seuss tongue twister. But when it opens, it's going to open a little bit differently. It opens this way, right? So here's flap number 1, and then it's going to continue to open. So as it opens, there's even more inside. This is a really fun one, and if you've seen the card recipe in your newsletter today, then you know there's a lot of things going on with this card. So this is our double flap fun fold. It is actually way easier than I imagined that it would be. Hi, Sandra Johnson. I'm glad to see you here too. All right, let's get over to my workspace because we're going to talk about the fun fold card. Hi, Jess. We're also going to talk about all of the Zinnia cards. Oh my gosh, Rhonda's loving it already. It is a pretty fancy card. It's also pretty easy, so I want you to be inspired to try this out as well. So let me get you over to my workspace here. Make sure I've transitioned over. All right, so Simply Zinnia. So we are following along with the zinnias, which we've been talking about since Monday evening. So if you followed class, you've seen these cards. If you didn't follow the class on Monday, this could be your first look at them. So it's kind of nice to check them all out. So I started out with a very interesting way to color, which was sponge daubers. And I had the kind of offset rectangles here. And then during class, I decided to switch it up. And then we had I matted them. Black and white here, these deckled rectangles. The matted look was way more popular than the offset look. So I thought that was really interesting. And then I did a color swap. Now for my color swap, I followed the original card. So instead of coloring it, I just left it black and white. So really simple, really powerful looking card, right? Black and white, really elegant. This stamp is fantastic in black and white. And then I did this fun card with lots of bright colors, again with the Melon Mambo. I'm really loving the Melon Mambo. During my class, I did change up the order that the colors went in. And Flirty Flamingo in the middle was like really a popular choice. I love the Flirty Flamingo in the middle as well. And then our final card for the class was this one, and there's really no improving this one. It was beautiful. I did kind of show what it would look like without the black borders. If you took those out, it would be a little bit more springy and Eastery. But that is a look at the card class, and those are the kits you will get in the mail. If you, hi Janice, oh she loves, Janice ordered the Zinnia bundle right away. She let me know, I need the Zinnias in my life. Hi Corey from Colorado, it's so nice to meet you. This is exciting. I have new people and new friends visiting me today. So Simply Zinnia, fantastic. It's a new online product. It will be featured in my March Card Maker Club as well. So I'm still playing with zinnias. I'm not even done playing with zinnias. But let's talk a little bit about your card recipe, which is in your newsletter, as I mentioned. So it gives you some pictures with kind of a nice picture tutorial, your dimensions, the supplies that I used. Please feel free to change these up. This is a card that you could make any colors, any papers, any themes, right? And then the directions, which we're going to kind of follow here a little bit, because I did want to kind of talk to you about the parts and pieces that go into here, which really are not quite as complicated. And in case you've peeked here already, I did use blends to color. So this is a very a nice and neat coloring as well. And I've snuck in those cute little embellishments too. These dragonflies and birds, which is your free gift this week with your purchase, really nice and flat. So they fit into all these flaps and folds so nicely. Oh my goodness. So there we go. All right, let's talk a little bit about papers that you're going to need. Now I left out a large piece of full-size sheet of the 8.5 by 11 because for the card base, this is different from a regular card base. Normally we make our A2 size card, we're chopping this right in half, right? Or we can do the hot dog cut, chop it right in half. For this card, we actually need something that's 11 inches long. I'm sorry, 10 inches long. Let's start over. For this card, we need a 10-inch long, and since this paper is 11 inches, we're going to just cut an inch off of the end. So I'm just going to share with you like how I'm getting to this math, right? So card math can be tricky. I've taken an inch off of the 11-inch length. Now I have 10 inches right here. I'm going to rotate it in my trimmer to get 5.5. So we still need 5.5. That's one of our numbers from our normal card bases, right? So I've got a 5.5 by 10 here, and my directions say that we're going to score this at 4 1/4. I'm going to actually need to open up my arm here. So let's do that real quick. So our first score is going to be at 4 1/4. Making sure I'm scoring it and not cutting it. And the next score line is going to be 8.5. So we're going to scooch it on down here to 8.5 without moving the paper out of the trimmer. So I've got my 2 score lines in here. So that's it for the scoring part, except for the other part. So no, that's not quite it. But this is going to be the harder part, right, that you're scoring. So basically, this is going to come over, and this is going to come over. So these are your 2 flaps right here. But they need to meet in the middle nicely because you want them to be, as I bring this open. So pretend this pink piece isn't here right now. So you've got your score line here, your score line here. So you can kind of see how that would work, right? So these have to come together like this with the I find it easier to put the smaller flap on the outside, and there's going to be like a little bow here. If I hold it together, it kind of bows out. It doesn't come nicely together. So I just use my bone folder and push this out. I'm going to push this out a little bit. And we're going to just kind of move this paper over so that these are going to come together nicely in the end as we get all of our score lines here burnished. I'm going to come this way. And so you want to get some really good burnishing on here. I'm going to just make sure they're in here nicely. So you're going to see that if you were to close it, right, you're going to have this flap come over top of this flap. So there is the outside piece, and we have designer series paper. Now this is where you get to be really creative. You can use all kinds of different designer series papers. We have one that's going to go on the front, and this front piece right here is your very basic 4 by 5 1/4. So we're going to see if my glue is going to participate today. I didn't test it. I didn't test it since last night, so it may have set up on me and my bottle might be getting empty. There we go. Now we're rolling in glue. All right, so we've got our designer series paper. This is going to go on the front piece, just like a regular card mat would be, right? Mat number 1. So we're going to put that on the front. Keep your orientation going in the right direction if you have an orientation. And then I'm going to use this contrasting color, which happens to be the back side of this Simply Zinnia paper, which is really fun, right? We're getting those great melon mambo and pumpkin pie colors. Now for this one, don't put it on this flap. You're going to fold it over and you're going to put it on the front flap as it's folded closed, right? So this is where we've got our two designer series papers going just like this. So we've got those on there. Now we are going to, and I mentioned we were done scoring. We're not actually done scoring. This little card, there's like a mini card. There's a card on a card. I'm calling this card on a card. This is the back side of it here, but this little mini card is, this piece of melon mambo is 3.5 by 7. And if we fold this in half or score this in half, you're basically, I'm just going to go ahead and do it this way. We're going to go the route without the scoring tool. So we're just going to fold this in half, and that's going to be our inside mini card. So this just goes right in half, 3.5. So this is our little mini card, which is this part right here, which has all those fun little decorations on it and such. So we are going to, now this is funny, So in the directions, please remember that this goes on backwards. This opens backwards, right? So this is the case where you want your card to open backwards. Normally I'm like, make sure you know the direction that it's opening. Normally we open our card this way, right? This is the front, we open it like this. This was the card that you open backwards, and it's on purpose. But before we do that, we're going to do a little stamping. So we've got some white here. This is a white insert. It's 4 by 5 1/4. Your very basic insert. We're going to ink up this wonderful stamp. I love this one. This one has been my go-to stamp. This one with the 3 little zinnias on it. I'm inking it in the Memento ink, and that's because I'm going to color it with Stampin' Blends. Now I'm not going to necessarily color the entire thing with Stampin' Blends. I'm looking for a little scrap paper. I don't have my glass mat out. So this is going to stamp off of the edge of my paper. So I'm just going to put it down here, right about here. So I'm basically catching some of the leaves here at the bottom. I've got my flowers going off the side just a little bit because it's okay that way, right? So it's kind of coming off the paper, and it just gives a really cute little edge. This would be beautiful on the front of a card too, by the way. Now for the sentiment here, I love the sentiments in the stamp set. We're using the Words Fail to Express My Gratitude, and I'm using Melon Mambo ink. Now you could definitely bring in the pumpkin pie if you wanted to, but the Melon Mambo is a brighter, bolder color choice. And I always like to do my sentiments in a darker color. I feel like it's easier for people to read. So there is that. While I have Melon Mambo out, let's stamp this cute little insert that's going to go on the inside of our card here. And it's just going to simply say thank you so much. I love to say thank you so much. That's kind of my go-to. Thank you so much. So we're going to just go ahead and stamp this right here in the middle. Thank you so much. And again, this is a great card where if you have lots of sentiments that you want to use and you're, like normally you use one on the front, one on the inside. This time you're putting them both on the inside, so you're kind of choosing different ways to showcase them. Although, of course, you can, if you really wanted to. You could put a sentiment out here too. You could put one here, and then open it and put one here, and then open it and put one here. So this is like the never-ending sentiment card. Let's call it that. So really awesome. Now we're gonna look at, oh my gosh, so much fun on this one. I didn't show you the coloring here on this one. I chose for the blends, Old Olive, Pumpkin Pie, and Melon Mambo. So I'm just gonna do like kind of a quick, just a little quick, how did I color them? I colored the top one in Pumpkin Pie. I colored the 2 bottom ones in the Melon Mambo. As you can see, I used just these simple blends. So I basically colored the center in the darker blend, and then I colored some of the shadings. I'm just going to kind of color just really quickly here. If you know me, I like to color super quickly. So a little bit of the dark in the center, some lines. The zinnias have a lot of great lines in the stamp itself. The red rubber stamps, and I know a lot of everybody I talk to, a lot of people say, oh, I prefer the photopolymer. The photopolymer, it's really hard to get all these really great details. The red rubber, they're able to cut so many more lines and details into the stamps, so it gives you just so much more to work with. And when I say to work with, when you're coloring these in, you have built-in lines in the flowers themselves that you know where maybe a little bit of shading should go. So I kind of just use some of those lines, coloring quickly, and just creating super simple colors. And then I would go through and do obviously the Melon Mambo, which I'll probably do later on today. And then same thing for the leaves. I always start with the darker and the nib end, and I kind of just go along wherever there's maybe some different darker lines in the stamp itself. So I'm just kind of taking advantage of where those are. And then I'm going to come through and I'm going to use the lighter color. These are great because they come in light and dark pairs, and you just kind of fill in with this. And then you can definitely see the green shading here where you have the darker and the lighter ink colors. The Melon Mambo blends a little bit more. The Pumpkin Pie has a little bit more of a different variation to it. So that's just some coloring that you would be doing on the side. I'm not going to take all the time to color this today because this is really about the fun fold, and I can come back through and color this later on. So the insert is going to come on just like so, just like a normal card would. So we've got our little insert here. And now we're down to more. Now, I mean, this is just a cute fold like this. If this is as far as you wanted to take your fold and decorate the front, absolutely. But this is a double flap. So we have to figure out how to get this on here. Now, we holding this in the direction of opposites, right? So it opens backwards. We're going to put our designer series paper in really cute floral designer series paper. We're going to put this layer on here, knowing that my card is going to open this way. Now with this paper, I don't really have an orientation. Like, it would look cute in any direction. So that's easy peasy. I am going to put my sentiment piece in here though, so that I really know which way I want this to be. And backwards is the correct answer for today. In case you were wondering, backwards is correct. So there it is. It's opening backwards just like it's supposed to. Now to put it onto this front right here, we're actually going to put some adhesive. I'm going to put adhesive here, and it's going to layer right on top. So basically I'm going to fit it kind of as evenly as possible from here to here, and as snugly as possible right here along this the crease line from this flap. So basically what I'd like to do is I'm going to just kind of hold this right here. This is kind of halfway up and down, and then I'm going to know that I need some adhesive right about in through here. So I'm using this little mini card as my guide to know where I want this to go. Now I find it easier to kind of flip things in different directions, so I'm going to turn this sideways and then line this up. Now if you're using tear and tape or tape runner, whatever you're using, right, you're kind of doing the same thing here. And I feel like maybe I have to come this way just a little bit. I feel like maybe some of my glue squished out here at the top, which is where I'm going to take my rubber eraser later and fix that. Now if it's not even here, not the end of the world, right? Because all of our creativity should be our own unique mix, right? So now you're going to see that it will open like this, and then as you put it together, you can tuck that piece in and then close it like that. How cute is that? Now what we have left to do is we have to talk about these fun flowers. So the flowers are actually, I didn't stamp them, I actually cut them from designer series paper. So this is the designer series paper. You can see here where I came through and I chopped up some flowers, and that I have 3 flowers on the front of my card. So I've already got a few chopped up. I wanted to point out that the flower paper is different. So you're going to see this is a whiter background and smaller flowers. I chose the bigger, bolder flowers, and it's got the pumpkin pie in the back. So in case you're looking at this paper and you're like, oh my goodness, that's amazing, right? So here are my flowers, and I want you to see that I took them off of the edges as well. So just because you have beautiful whole flower, like, you're going to want a nice flower that has a really great surround, but you can also take advantage of these little half pieces here along the outside edges. There's no reason that you can't use these, and I'm going to show you why. So basically I'm going to take one, and I'm going to take the advantage of the fact that it's going to be straight here, and I'm just going to make it look like that's where I wanted it to end, right? So it's right here on the edge of my designer series paper, kind of coming in. So a flower that maybe you were like, oh, I can't use that one, it's only a half a flower. This one came from the corner piece. So if you're like into puzzles, right, it's got 2 square edges. I just have to make sure that as I layer these on, I'm going to be able to cover up my square edges so that they look like natural flowers, just like these ones do. So this one had a square edge, and this one right here had one, but you can't see it underneath. So basically I'm just going to line these up on here, and this is awesome because it was a quick fussy cut. It wasn't really difficult, and you can use the edges of your paper. You don't have to stamp and die cut. And I popped the third one on here with some dimensionals. So we're going to pop in some dimensionals as well. Lift this third one up, give it a little bit of a lift here, up and over the other 2. So you just get to layer them on here wherever you think it's going to be best. So you can layer them on there. Now for the leaves, I just have, in the directions, I have a piece of old olive, and I stamped the leaf image twice on my old olive, and then I die cut it out. So these are the little dies that I got from my little leaf stamping. So you can see here on this leaf down here, this looks kind of funny, right? Because it's just from the designer series paper, and some of these flowers have leaves that infringe upon the beautiful flowers, right? They're not, the flowers aren't all popped up to the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take advantage of my little leaves here, and I'm just going to kind of cover up some of that, I think, so that it looks a little bit more natural instead of having it just the way that it is there. So you can use these leaves, and you could even die cut more leaves if you wanted to. So I'm just going to put one there, and it's going to cover up where that green was, and then I'm going to put another one up here and off center it on the other side, I think, just like so. And these can overflap. These can go over top of your mini card if you want to. They don't have to be, don't think they have to be snug right into this entire process, right? So here we go. So this is the card. I'm going to open both of them, make sure I didn't miss anything. We missed the bling, and I do need to finish coloring, but this is a assembly for the fun fold. And of course the bling, I like these little dragonflies, right? So they are so flat and just easy to use. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in a couple of the dragonflies, kind of seeing right here around my flowers. And then I did put one on this one too. Just kind of nice to have that continuity when you can carry your theme through, right? So this is what the card looks like. That's how it goes together. Super simple, really. I mean, it's not a hard card to put together, definitely. It just takes a little bit of thought process, and it's definitely fun to decorate because you have so many fun flaps that you can use, and they can, of course, all be a little bit different, look a little bit different. So there we go. That is our Simply Zinnia Fun Fold card for Thursday. Hi, Bonnie. Hi, Lois. Steffi. Hi. Hi, Ed and Fred. I'm so glad you guys are watching me. So, okay. Yep. Melissa says that she likes this set. This is going to be a big seller for sure. Now, this bundle is not in any catalog. It's not going to be in any catalog. It's an online exclusive. And the online exclusives just came out yesterday. There's a whole slew of products, like a whole bunch of different products. And the online exclusives are available while supplies last, or if Stampin' Up! Decides to refill them, they're going to refill them, or if they decide they're never going to refill them, we're never going to know if they're gone for good. So that's the thing with the online exclusives. If you really like something, I say get it, because you never know how long it's going to be around. There's no real end date that they give to us. Thank you guys for the love. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Jess, these are fun and bright colors for sure. Thanks, Janice. So get your Zinnia bundle if you want to. Make sure you sign up for my March Card Maker Club if you're interested in playing with even more Zinnia products. And I hope that you have been enjoying this Zinnia week. Now I will, if you're following me on Facebook, I do have one more card to share with you tomorrow because zinnias, right? They're so amazing. What can't they do? All right, everybody, thanks for hanging out with me for a little bit and checking out my fun fold card. I will be back again next week with even more interesting things for you. I've got all kinds of plans. And some of you I'll see on Saturday for my March Madness Kits and More event. All right, everybody, until next time, stay inspired, create something beautiful, and share the love. Bye.